How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you.
So first of all, thank you so very much for giving us your time. We understand it's really precious. And secondly, sir, just tell me, how does it feel like that you were the student in 1981 in GC University? Now you are the Vice Chancellor. How does it feel like, sir?
It's a great pride. It's a pride that you cannot describe in words. And it's not only a pride but also a great responsibility.
Indeed it is.
That because I feel it, that I have got so much from this college. It used to be college. And this is my opportunity to return, pay back to my university, my college, as well as to my country. So I'm very fortunate to have this opportunity to be sitting here and have the responsibility to lead the education policy of this institution.
Yeah. So, sir, when you were studying here, it was a college, and now you're the VC and it's the university. What's the basic difference that you found here?
The main difference, I think, should be in terms of education. The quality of education suddenly takes another uplift when you are yourself a degree awarding institution. Another difference which I feel still needs to be realized here in Government College University, that is the emphasis on research, emphasis on innovation, emphasis on research that is linked to the industry, to the policy making, to the applied world. And I think we should put more emphasis in that way towards research and innovation, that research which has societal impact, and then we will be able to become a truly a university.
Perfect. Sir, if I ask you, cut short, how do you see the education system in Pakistan? Are you satisfied with it or not?
Well, lot can be desired. Wherever, even in the best institutions, you have this mindset that how could we get better?
Indeed.
And I have been studying and teaching in the very best institutes of the world.
Yes.
I have been a student in Oxford University, and then I was a teacher there, and I still have an affiliation with Oxford Institute of Population Aging. Then I was at London School of Economics, and very late before coming here, I was in Seoul National University, South Korea, which is ranked 34th in the world. So once you come back from those top level institutions back to Pakistan, of course there is this shock that why can't we do it this way, or why can't this thing be done in so much better ways. But you also have to appreciate the difference of availability of resources, difference of experience. We are 74-year-old nation. So in many ways our education system cannot be developed as you would expect, say in Oxford. Or in Oxford our colleges were 1200 years old. And so lots of that tradition we still have to learn. So in that respect, I think it's not fair that we look at the ranking of our universities in comparison to those top level ranking. But what we should really be seeing is how far we have come from, say, 10 years ago or 20 years ago. And in that way, I would say curriculum development, the work of the Higher Education Commission has been tremendous in developing the curriculum. There are now much greater resources available for people to do research within the country and go abroad. So in that respect, you could say a lot of development is happening and has happened, although one can still desire a lot more. And I think one aspect where Pakistan's higher education sector needs more work is quality of teachers, better training of teachers. Compare yourself, if you want to come and become a university teacher, the day you get selected or the day you receive the appointment letter, almost in all universities, the very next week you are standing in front of the students and teaching.
Exactly.
Whereas you put it in comparison to, say, Pakistan Administrative Service, that they get appointed, they spend a whole year through different academies, even they get to do certificate courses abroad before they are put to the task of becoming, say, assistant commissioner or anything of that sort. I think if we want to put great emphasis on higher education, which we should, then we need to introduce that kind of rigorous training to our teachers, and only then we can raise the standard of education.
Good one. So, sir, just as you said in the beginning, that if you compare, you get a shock, and you gave us a perfect solution that we need to give that rigorous training to the teachers. My question is, are we really working on that, or is the process, if we're working on that, if it's still in the process, are you satisfied with the speed of this process? Or
unfortunately not. There's a lot of rhetoric. There's a talk about we need to offer training. There is a new initiative by Higher Education Commission. I think it's called National Academy on Higher Education, and this week we are meeting here in alums with the representatives of HEC to understand what that National Academy of Higher Education will offer. So there is some progress happening, perhaps not at a speed that we wish to see, but we also need to make sure that not just that those courses are offered, but from the demand side, the universities are very much connected to that supply side, so that our teachers do go and get training. Because very often you start these new programs, but the mindset of the faculty, especially faculty which has been teaching for very long, they are not very interested in training anymore. So you have to work with both sides, the supply side and the demand side.
All right. So just as you're saying, the teachers themselves, they do not understand that they need the training side. So there are organizations, there are HEC, there are the government. So what do you think, who is responsible to make this thing happen in this country?
Well, the responsibility rests with the government to make more resources available to Higher Education Commission, and then Higher Education Commission to make the best use of those resources in bringing about innovations, so that we could raise the quality of education and we could raise the quality of teaching. So you could think of the chain in which government make more resources available to higher education sector, and then Higher Education Commission becomes more resourceful and more empowered to bring about interventions in the universities. Another factor, I think, sitting in Government College University, I strongly believe you have to make some of the universities as your centers of excellence. Indeed. So that they can, without worrying too much about generating enough revenues to be able to make ends meet, they should be able to concentrate on the excellence of certain subjects and become the center of excellence, not just for the students studying there, but also for other universities. And Government College University, being the oldest university, oldest higher education institution in Pakistan, has that potential. Other institutions, other universities look up to Government College University, and if we could develop some good programs which develops a better curriculum, which provides better training to teachers, which offers student-teacher engagement mode of teaching, which offers extracurricular activities so that students develop those attributes that they can become better leaders in pursuing their ambitions. So I think that is another way that you do not sort of try to spread those additional resources to everyone, and nobody could actually make something great out of it. You pick universities, give them and make them accountable for that, and give them opportunity to become centers of excellence.
Perfect. So I understand that you have another commitment. So like you have the shortage of time right now. So I would love to ask you one last question. I know that you have joined this institution as the VC back in 2019 October, and after 6 months there was the COVID and everything went online. What positive change you could bring in this institution, and what positive change you really desired to bring, but the factors were making you reluctant to do that? And what are the things that you still want to do, you believe that you would do in this 4 years tenure?
Well, it's a very loaded question. I can speak the whole day about it.
I understand.
So what I would do is I'll pick one thing and talk about what it means and how important it is, and that is what I want to do in this university, and hopefully other universities following the paths of this university could also develop that method. I think we should have in university a student-centric approach to everything we do. Students being your key stakeholders, and all your policies should revolve around providing best services, best education experience to students.
I'm so glad to listen to this answer.
So unfortunately, we tend to forget that students are the reasons why these universities flourish. So what we are saying in the student-centric approach, all decisions made at the university level should have perspectives from the students. All committees that they get involved in, say, what should be the fee escalation next year, or what should be the different allocation of marks in the semester system, what should be the assessment methods, and all these different academic and extracurricular committees that we have should have a representative of a student, so that we could get a perspective of students. I give you my own example of Government College University here, and as you said, COVID, basically we get the momentum, and then COVID happens, and then we go back to our rooms, and then we open up, and today is the first day that university is opening again. Just before the lockdown, we decided that 2 students each week will spend the whole day with the Vice Chancellor. So they will sit in all the meetings, all the discussions, and all the tours and trips that I make.
Outstanding.
And in that way, they will learn how things get done at the university level, what sort of decisions making we do throughout the day, on a single day. They get the opportunity to give us their student perspective in some decision making. We were able to draw that, so we were able to ask those students, so what's your view on this matter? And they were able to give their own perspective, and in that way we feel we are connected to our main clients, our main clients being students. So in that way, and those students also felt very empowered, and they were learning the mannerism in which the senior most faculty members, their deans, their teachers, the Vice Chancellor is sitting, and yet they are able to say their point of view. So that turned out to be a very useful exercise. And in this student-centric approach, that would be one exercise we will be doing. And what I want to identify is that if we could come back to that service-oriented, student-centric approach, I think we will be able to do so much better.
Inshallah you would, and a very great approach, and I'm really glad that you have this approach, that it should be student-centered. If we make it student-centered, everything will get perfect automatically. So thank you so very much for your time.
You are most welcome. My apologies that I could not give more time.
Not a problem, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.